How Rome's navy went from zero to hero and changed naval warfare forever. Imagine you're a landlocked empire that's never won a sea battle in your life. Your enemy has the most powerful navy in the world with hundreds of years of maritime experience. You have basically nothing. No fleet, no sailors, no clue how to fight on water. Now imagine beating them so badly that you capture their flagship and revolutionize naval warfare forever. This is the incredible true story of how Rome went from complete naval noobs to Mediterranean masters in just 2 months, using one brilliant invention that changed everything. The empire that forgot about the ocean. Here's something most people don't know about Rome. For centuries, they were basically afraid of water. Sure, their legendary ancestor Aeneas supposedly arrived by ship, but the Romans themselves? Hardcore landlubbers. Rome sits about 15 miles inland from the sea. Even though they're on the Tiber River, they didn't even have a proper port for the longest time. When they finally built Ostia, literally meaning mouth or entrance, in the 6th century BCE, they were so paranoid about naval attacks that they didn't even build real docks. Instead, ships had to anchor offshore, while small boats ferried cargo to the beach. It was like being afraid of your own coastline, when two superpowers couldn't share the sea. For a while, Rome was content to split the Mediterranean with Carthage. They had treaties. Rome got the eastern waters, Carthage got the west. Easy enough, right? Wrong. Enter Hamilcar Barca, the legendary Carthaginian general, and Hannibal's dad. This guy decided treaties were more like suggestions. He conquered most of Sicily, then had the audacity to land in southern Italy and ransack Greek cities like Heraclea and Metapontum. The message was clear. Carthage owned the seas, and they could attack Rome whenever and wherever they wanted. This meant war. The First Punic War had begun, and Rome had a massive problem. The David versus Goliath problem. On land, Roman legions were unstoppable. But at sea, they were basically sailing in circles while Carthaginian fleets moved troops and supplies wherever they wanted. A storm in 311 BCE had destroyed almost all Roman ships, leaving them with just 20 triremes, total barely enough to patrol their own coastline. Meanwhile, Carthage had the ancient world's most advanced navy. Hundreds of ships, experienced crews, centuries of naval tradition. It was like bringing a rowboat to a destroyer fight. Rome needed a miracle. Instead, they got something better. They got creative. The 2-month naval revolution. When a Carthaginian pentere, their most advanced warship, washed up on Roman shores, it was like finding alien technology. Roman shipbuilders studied every inch, and within 2 months, they'd built 120 copies using Greek shipyards and expertise. But having ships and knowing how to use them are very different things. Roman sailors trained frantically, learning from Etruscan maritime traditions. Their first naval battle? Predictably, a disaster. But Romans don't give up. 3 months later, Consul Gaius Duilius faced the Carthaginian fleet at Mylae with fewer ships than the enemy. He was about to prove that sometimes innovation beats experience. The secret weapon that changed everything. Carthaginian Admiral Hannibal Gisco, yes, another Hannibal, was feeling confident. These Roman amateurs were sailing in tight formation, perfect targets for ramming attacks. Carthaginian ships were faster, more maneuverable, designed to ram enemy vessels and sink them before they could respond. But the Romans had a secret. The corvus, literally, the raven. Picture this. A rotating boarding bridge that could swing out and lock onto any enemy ship that came within range. No matter which direction a Carthaginian ship approached, Romans could drop their bridge, secure it with iron spikes, and transform a naval battle into hand-to-hand combat. Suddenly, Carthaginian speed and maneuverability meant nothing. Every ship that attacked became a platform for Roman marines to storm aboard. It was like turning the ocean into solid ground. from sea battle to street fight. The results were devastating. Carthaginian crews, trained for ramming and sailing, found themselves fighting Roman legionaries in close-quarters combat. It wasn't even close. The Romans captured Hannibal Gisco's own flagship and destroyed most of his fleet. In one battle, they'd gone from naval laughingstock to Mediterranean powerhouse. Back in Rome, they built a marble column decorated with 31 captured Carthaginian ship prows. Duilius received a triumph, the first naval triumph in Roman history. The innovation that broke the rules. The corvus didn't just win one battle, it revolutionized naval warfare. For centuries, sea battles had been about ramming, sinking, and drowning your enemies. Romans said, why not just board their ships and fight them like we fight everyone else? It was so Roman it hurts. Faced with a problem they didn't understand, they didn't learn the enemy's rules, they changed the game entirely. The lesson that echoes through history. Rome's first naval victory teaches us something powerful. Sometimes the biggest advantage goes to the newcomer who doesn't know what's impossible. Carthaginian admirals had centuries of tradition telling them how naval battles worked. Roman commanders had no tradition at all, just the willingness to try something completely crazy. The corvus eventually became obsolete as naval technology advanced, but the principle remains. Innovation often beats experience, especially when the innovator refuses to accept that this is how things are done. Rome went on to dominate the Mediterranean for centuries, but it all started with one simple idea. If you can't beat them at their own game, change the rules. What modern innovations remind you of Rome's corvus? When have you seen newcomers beat experts by refusing to play by traditional rules? Let me know in the comments.